7:47 on, I'm going to call it a beautiful Wednesday morning because of what we're headed into. Yeah. Would you say it's a beautiful Wednesday morning?
I would say it's beautiful. Absolutely.
Did you hear what I told him about the forecast?
Yeah, I was quite giddy when you said that.
Me too.
I'm not going to lie.
It's hard not to be giddy. 3 days of sunny and 50 or better, and on Monday it culminates 62 degrees, mostly sunny.
What does 62 feel like outside? I just don't know.
We're going to lose some of this snow,
which is good. It's time. It's time. You know, and it's just it's long overdue.
I know, and they're waiting for me to tell them that on Tuesday it's going to be 28 and 3 feet of snow. But Tuesday they're saying partly sunny and 62. You know, so
yeah, just don't blink because that will change.
Oh,
so
yeah, I know.
Not fun.
So how you doing?
I am well, better than you.
Well, I'm okay. I feel okay. I was sick Sunday. I felt kind of puny, you know. But I don't sound better, but I feel better.
Good.
You know, so I'm on the mend.
Well, I'm hoping you'll look better soon, too.
I'm going to have to work out for about a year.
So this morning...
And plastic surgery.
No, you're fine. So this morning, you actually did something that we don't normally do. You looked at me and go, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, I actually wanted to know ahead of time.
So this morning, I thought what we would talk about, two quick hits, if you will. So with this warmer weather coming, the snowpack obviously is melting down. Your snowmobile that you had coverage on this year so you could ride the heck out of it.
Right.
Do you keep coverage on it or no?
And is it covered when people ride them on dirt like they are now? I mean, there are some die-hard folks out there. You know, I'm driving down the Ridge Road and there are all these tracks going across the road on dirt. Yeah. That's commitment, really, or needing to be committed. But it is time. it is time to put them away.
It is.
And do you continue the coverage, or
the good rule of thumb is yes. And you know, there's ways to do it. Some folks out there, they pay a fair amount for their snowmobile insurance, and that's because they've got some newer snowmobiles, and you know they might have a higher CC, so you know you've got some high rating on those versus some of the older ones, like what I used to have, a 1981 Yamaha SRV. Pretty cheap to insure that.
Yeah.
So typically, the carriers, you know, they rate on a 12-month span, saying the rating is this because you're only riding during this span.
Right.
Okay, so they prefer you not to get rid of the coverage or cancel it. A couple of my carriers have a cancellation fee of $50 if you cancel a policy without it renewing at least once. So you know, you got to weigh the benefits of whether it's worth keeping the snowmobile policy or not. Sometimes you can reduce coverage to just physical damage, which in the interest of a newer snowmobile that's thousands of dollars, you may very want to keep that because that snowmobile is still covered of vandalism, fire, theft, falling objects during the summer.
With a car, if it's financed, you're required to have it covered by the finance company.
Same with snowmobiles and motorcycles.
So if people have a newer snowmobile that's financed, they have to have it insured year round.
You really do. You know, some folks might find a way around that. I'm not familiar with how, but you know, depending on how much of a loan you have, you might be able to get away with not keeping it. So certainly a dialogue to have with your carrier or agent. Maybe see if you can reduce some coverage during the off season to shave some of that cost.
Right.
So something to think about.
Okay. And then the other thing was
very timely. Sugar makers.
Yes. So there's a lot of people making syrup.
Yes.
And selling it.
Exactly.
What kind of liability? I mean, they're in the woods,
right?
Which can be dangerous.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, some of our carriers, you know, when you sell a product, and a product is something that you've turned something into something, and that's a product, which is exactly what you do with maple syrup. With sap, you turn it into syrup. So
right.
You've changed it.
It becomes a commercial operation.
Well, the good news about it is that companies still consider that okay. That's fine. You know, there's no special need to really, like if you have an agricultural policy, you know, they're not going to really consider that something other than, you know, it's like milk, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, sugar houses...
Right, so
you got a fire going.
So let's talk about that. So you know, having coverage on your sugar house, definitely not a bad thing to have because you start getting those reverse osmosis, those evaporators. I mean, some of the equipment in there is
not cheap, right?
Usually, it's more expensive than the building,
right?
And that's not meant to be punny. It's just that stuff's not cheap. But even if you're a small time maple syrup producer and you sell to a few people, you really should have some liability coverage on that. And certainly would recommend looking at options to find optimum coverage for even a little exposure, because if somebody was to get sick and claim it was your syrup, or somebody was to come onto the property to buy it and slip and fall, and you don't have proper liability coverage, you could be on the line for yourself.
World of hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So certainly a dialogue worth having.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why you're here.
That is, well, I can't help anybody here, but that's why I'm
there.
there.
That's why you're there. That's right.
Yeah, so I just thought some timely things this morning. And we kept it pretty short, too.
And I bet Co-op in Middlebury is probably one of the companies that deals with some of that stuff.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you figure these guys have been doing agricultural insurance for 100 years. They know what they're doing. And even on a homeowner side,
and
there's
you
some
happen to represent that company.
Isn't that shocking? How ironic.
How ironic.
Yes.
Good Policies is brought to you this morning by the Barrett Insurance Agency online at thebarrettagency.com.
And, of course, we're on Facebook, Barrett Insurance Agency, and you can give us a call, 748-5224.
5224. All right.
Thank you, Val.
Well, we'll talk next week, and hopefully I'll sound better, and I'll be tanner after Monday and Tuesday.
Goodness gracious. Can't wait.
Son, I'll talk to you next
See
week.
ya.